Hello and welcome to BCC Racing, fourth week of the Winter League, and tonight's course from BRT Criterium Racing is the, what's it called? Richmond roller coaster, which is part of the UCI course and is in effect the most of the cobbled climbs reverse course with a flat bit sort of added in as well. 17.2 kilometers long, 170 meters of climbing, a very long lead-in at 12.1 kilometers and a short 5-kilometer lap. Looking at the course in a little bit more detail, three major climbs: 23rd Street, the KOM reverse, which I know most of you have ridden this before, but that is the climb with a reputedly the steepest section on Zwift at 22%. And then the longest climb on the route tonight, East Main Street, I think is around 1.2 kilometers at 3.8%. So unusually for a race of this type, it is a downhill start, which will be interesting to watch. And we are at the moment with the B pen, 2 minutes 34 seconds to go. All riders starting together, and a huge field from BCC tonight, 32 riders in total. And I think, let's have a look, according to a companion app, 215 riders entered, which is quite a number. So this will be fast, to say the least. All B1 probably, well, more than likely on the climbs. Certainly the first climb will be critical, as will the second, with that steep section. The third one I think will probably not create as many problems, but the group's likely to break up. So I'll try and capture the winning riders in each category, but it may prove a little bit tricky with the speed at which this is going to happen at only 17.2 kilometers long. So we have 3 riders from category A, a huge field from Cat B, 18 riders in all, with a couple of new entries. Collier, I think, is moving up from the C's to the B's. Good luck to him. Littlewood, I think, in his second B race, did very well on the race Monday evening. In the C's, we have 6 riders, and not to be outdone, the D's, 5 riders, a great field from both the C's and the D's, but the B's, the field getting ever larger. So looking at potential winners for this evening, I'm not sure if Stoneham's entered for the A's yet. Let's have a look and see if I can see. Doesn't look like it, but he may appear late, often does. Oh, in fact, he is there. I tell a lie, he is there. He won on Monday night ahead of Tom, Danes and Lisa. And this is a course that could suit him well. So I think on Monday night, let's have a look. He won by a couple of minutes over Tom, so that was a great result for him. If he can do the same again tonight, he'll be extending his, I think he has an overall lead above Tom. In the B's, Kalik won on Monday night, could do well again. He's getting stronger and stronger in each race. He was followed by, of course, Mr. 3.99 watts per kilo, Davis himself. In the C's, it was Reed for his third race, I think, only, and so he is getting fitter and fitter and rapidly heading towards the B's. And in the D's, that was won by Rob Jones, which is a great result for him, battling against Sandy Telford. So 5 seconds left to go, and the dog's just come in. Go away. And the riders are off. And here we have Empson on screen. First rider I've managed to capture. He won, sorry, he was 6th on Monday night, just behind Ketley, who beat him on the sprint finish. And in fact, on Monday evening, it was Kalik, Davis, Lancia and Campbell, sort of Group 1 for the Bs. And already you can see on screen this very large group of Category B riders beginning to stretch out. In sort of Group 2 for the Bs was Ketley and Empson, and then followed up with followed up behind Mayhew Smith, Shannon and Littlewood, and then towards the rear Langan and Stoneham. So let's just see how we go with these riders. So here they are on the downhill section. There's no hanging about, and if you look at the graphic on the top right of the screen, up here where my mouse is, already stretching out. This is the entire field though, mixed up with A's, B's and every other kind of rider. There's Marcus Stoneham. And for a moment there I thought he was ahead of his son. That would be a rare opportunity. Lancia I've just seen go past. Lancia is not a strong rider, not been super consistent recently. I think it depends on what he's eaten beforehand. Last week, or sorry I should say on Monday evening, he pulled well ahead of Campbell, but Campbell sort of wore him down, caught up, and I think closed a 45-second gap if I remember correctly at one point, but didn't quite beat him on the line. So Lancia needs to be off that. I'm just looking. Stoneham Angus and Stoneham Marcus, are they next to each other? Not quite, but they are in this sort of general front group of all category riders. So very shortly they are going to hit their climb. Let's see what happens. Kalik was leading this time last week in the Bs. Stayed pretty much near the front for most of the race. And in fact, pulled away. He finished about 30 seconds ahead of Davis, so I hope he's received his I Beat Barry t-shirt. And this climb goes up, I think, to 12 or 13%, can't quite remember. Not very long, but this is 23rd Street climb. Let's see what's happening. Ketley's in there, this will favour him tonight. Keen climber. Lancia is pulling away by a couple of seconds though, but Campbell's 1 second ahead of him. And Tom in the A's is a further second ahead. So Campbell, Lancia and Blackham, of course, as well. Forgot about him in there in the mix. All pushed hard up this climb and are continuing to push over the top, which is a great tactic. The noise of the cobbles. We move quickly a bit further back. Ketley coming down now. Kalik hanging onto his wheel. Looks as if Empson's just dropped off a little bit behind Ketley, and in fact he finished 1 second behind Ketley on Monday night, so he'll be hoping to switch that round the other way. And if I'm lucky I might just catch, there's Lisa having come down the climb, or is she just coming up to it? Just coming up to it by the looks of it at 2.6 kilometers. She had a great ride on Monday as well. Average 4.4 watts per kilo, which is the highest out of any of the riders from BCC. Oh, this is the second climb, sorry. This is the KOM reverse. This is the one that just touches 22%. Riders will definitely feel this. There is Marcus Stoneham on the same climb. And if I can pop back, Langan and Taft together in the Bs. Nixon, there's Littlewood. Is this Mayhew Smith? Yes, Mayhew Smith has dropped back through the field. I'd expect him to be further up, but he was about this position on Monday as well. But behind him is Dury. Then we have White and Hindley. White, I think, is close to being moved up to the Bs. In fact, probably should already be there. You can't hide in the C's forever. And Shannon, I've just seen, there he is. So the groups are stretching out very quickly indeed. Try and catch. Quigley's another rider that is close to being promoted to Bs as well. Frequently comes up to the limit of the category. Collier, I think this might be his first race in the Bs. If so, doing quite well at the moment. Has lost his main competition from BCC that appears to be further ahead of him at this stage. And May in the seas. Let's see if I can find the battle that's undoubtedly going on. In fact, before I go back to the D's, let's just see if we can see where Cullen is. Didn't race on Monday night, so I'm just trying to compare him to... Sorry, it's noisy on these cobbles. This is Libby Street downhill, tight twisting turns. No sign of Cullen. I'm sure he's in there somewhere. Got a quick check on the D riders. There's Tamsin I've just saw at 3.6 kilometers. There is Cullen coming down Libby Street, or is it Libby Hill? Can't remember. Libby something at 3.7 kilometers. So the riders now enter one of the flat sections of the course. Some riders in the Super Tuck there, but this is about a 2.5 kilometer relatively flat section before the East Main Street climb at 1.2 kilometers and 3.8%. And then once they're at the top of that climb, it's all out for the finish really. A few bumps, but no more climbing. Jones, Peter Jones, doing very well as usual. 7 seconds ahead of his namesake, Rob Jones, who is 1 second ahead of Telford. He'll be keen to keep that 1 second gap. In fact, he won the category on Monday night, so it was a great race from him. And there is Telford just going past at the moment. Is he? No, sorry, I got that wrong. That's just the way Zwift is updating it. So it looks as if Jones is 5 seconds ahead of Telford. Let's move back up to the front of the field now. See who's dropped off. Quigley and Collier still together at 5.4 kilometers, 7 minutes or 8 minutes into the race. White 4 or 5 seconds further ahead. Along with, looks like, Hindley and Shannon as well at 5.7 kilometers. They are 9 seconds behind Nixon. Nixon's riding well. Shannon continues to, probably the politest way of put it, is not quite ride as fast as he has been recently. Same applies to Mayhew Smith. Maybe configuration in his turbo once again. Maybe it's having a couple of weeks when it's not putting out as much power as it did once before. But for whatever reason, it's all relative, of course. Riders tend to compete against themselves as much as they do their fellow competitors. And Jury, I just saw, is with Mayhew Smith. Littlewood's in there as well, so he's riding well. 7 seconds behind Langen. Marcus Stoneham is with Langen. And Taff is in there as well. So Taff, Langen, Stoneham moving forward in the field, and they are, let's have a look. In fact, 4 seconds behind Lisa, so wonder what's happening with Lisa and Empson. So it looks as if Stoneham and Co are riding well. Empson, Kalik, can't see Ketley. We would expect him to be in there as well, but Empson and Kalik at 7 kilometers. They are now 17 seconds behind Lancey. In fact, Davis and Ketley are in that group as well. So Kalik, just as a reminder, won on Monday night, some almost 3 minutes ahead of Ketley, but looks as if the tables have turned. Ketley is about 20 seconds ahead of Empson. Davis managing his 3.9 watts per kilo quite well at the moment at 7.5 kilometers, 10 minutes 23 seconds into this race. But a little further ahead, I've only just spotted, Blackham is 4 seconds further ahead, and even better, so is Campbell. He is riding very well tonight. In fact, he's right at the front of the bees. Only 3 other riders ahead of him in this same group, as far as I can tell. There's someone in category C with them as well. That doesn't quite make sense, but anyway. So Campbell and Blackham going for it. Let's just see where Lancey is. I might have passed him. And Stoneham looks to be up the front. Here he is. One rider has pulled 5 seconds ahead, but Stoneham and Tom together at 8.4 kilometers. And if I remember correctly, this is the sprint banner. They'll come round to this again just before the finish, or it might be there, I'm not quite sure, but Stoneham, Tom together and up the front, 35 seconds ahead of Blackham. So as a reminder, all riders started at the same time. No 1 minute gaps between each of the groups. So Blackham and Campbell 35 seconds further back, and they seem to be pulling ahead of Lancier and Davis. By how much, if I can work it out? By about 5 seconds, I think. Yes, looks like it, just looking forward on the course there. So in that group ahead, there's a couple of riders in between them, but ahead of Davis, Lancier and Ketley is Blackham and Campbell. So if Blackham and Campbell can hold on to this, the course will now probably begin to shift in their favour slightly. There's still one climb to go, the long climb up East Main Street, and then from there it's not completely flat, it's a little bit bumpy, but it will suit the larger riders. Looks as if tactically these two guys have played this very well. But let's not underestimate Ketley. The next climb is coming up. He'll be looking to take advantage of that. Lancier has beaten Davis on a number of occasions. I'm not sure if Ketley has, but we might just be able to find him a spare I Beat Barry t-shirt if he does. And then 21 seconds behind Ketley, Davis and Lancier is Lisa, and I think there are quite a few other riders in here. Kalik is in there too. Let's see if we can find him. I just saw him somewhere in that group. Kalik and Empson. Anyone else? Langan and Taff further 15 seconds back, and Stoneham. So Langan, Taff and Stoneham at 9.2 kilometers. Trying not to miss anyone. Dury at 9.2, about 10 seconds further back. Mayhew Smith is drifting even further back. That's a surprise. And Littlewood. Looks like another good ride for Littlewood so far. He's definitely been getting fitter and fitter. And I would not have expected him to beat Mayhew Smith in recent weeks, but Mayhew Smith beat him on Monday by about, let's have a look, 35 seconds roughly. So if Littlewood can hold on to this, it'll be a great result for him. There he is. Mayhew Smith and Jury in there as well. Shannon is now further 4 seconds back with Hindley. In fact, that is that second group. Sorry, out of these two overall, it must be about the fifth group, but I meant to say this is the second out of these two groups. And Nixon is in there too. So Nixon looks to be riding well. Quigley and Collier in that group as well. No sign of Cullen. He's around somewhat. White has dropped 9 seconds further back. Albert May at 9.3. Tamsin at 9.3 as well. Although oddly, Zwift reports them as 4 seconds apart. In fact, that is May just ahead on screen now. There is Cullen. Mixed up with the D's now. He's not riding at full power. I've seen him ride much harder than this. 2.5 watts per kilo. In fact, he's pushing the power up now, so just a temporary lull. He is now at 9.3. And in the Peter Jones, riding well. Certainly ahead of Morton, who's at 8.9. And in the battle between Telford and Rob Jones, so it looks as if Telford has pulled 19 seconds ahead of Jones. That's unexpected. In fact, Lord is riding well. She's been getting stronger and stronger. And that is Jones just ahead of her on screen. So she'll be keen to catch him up, a fellow BCC rider that she recognises. Lay is a further 37 seconds further back, returning to full fitness, so he won't want to be pushing it too hard at the moment, but he's certainly beginning to get a little bit faster again. And let's have a look at the front. The front riders will not be too far away from the finish at this stage, and I will try and get to them before they do finish. .12 kilometres for the B group. Ketley and Co at 12.1, just getting an idea of where everyone is. So about 5k left as far as I can work out. There is Stoneham right at the front of the race, and something has happened. Stoneham's 2 seconds ahead of any other Cat A rider. Is this an attack from Stoneham? It looks like it. 6.1 watts per kilo, heartbeat 173, can certainly go up to 200 and just above. He has more in him. This is the long, flat, in inverted commas section. A couple of little bumps, but the climbing has finished. Tom, his fellow BCC competitor, is in that group behind, 2 seconds away. Stoneham has made a great break in a race before. So let's hope, in fact, he's now 3 seconds out, and this is the view that Tom has of Stoneham just up ahead. They might not be too worried, this group, at this stage. It's probably only Tom that knows really how well Stoneham can ride. The rest will be sitting back. Tom won't want to bridge the gap by himself. I'd really like to encourage some other riders to go with him. Pity riders can't chat to each other on a practical basis, because then he could let them know that it is possible to catch up with Stoneham. Stoneham at 5.56 watts per kilo. The chasing group generally around 3.5 to 4. So Stoneham should be continuing to increase this gap slowly but surely. And he is now at 14.5 kilometres. In fact, he's got another second now. This could be a great result for Stoneham if he can hold on. Just under 3 kilometres. Oh, a bit of a U-turn there. Just under 3 kilometres to go for him. It's a long way to hold on, but it doesn't look as if the others are responding. I will stay with the front at this stage. Won't lose sight of them, but in fact I might have just done so because of the way this works. Let's go back quickly. I will stay with these front runners now. There is Stoneham. In fact, another rider seems to be bridging the gap. In fact, they are. He is getting consumed, so he didn't last long, that brave attack. But he has set this group on fire now. They're all thinking of the finish. So Stoneham moves to the rear of the group. Not a great issue yet. Most certainly would not underestimate his abilities even at this stage. This is the front rider. I'm just checking. See if the front riders are attempting to pull away. 5.8 watts, 5.6. This rider is 1 second ahead of Stoneham. Stoneham's back in the mix there. Right in the middle of the group. Good position to be in at 15.8 kilometres and 21 minutes into the race. They've just overtaken Lord by the looks of it. So Stoneham and Tom sitting, waiting, putting out a good power output though. And from here to the finish it is flat. Just trying to find the front of the A's again. And it's very difficult to do. I should have stayed where I was there, but trying to find Stoneham. Ketley, Kalik, still together. Blackham, 27 seconds ahead. Blackham still with Campbell. There is Stoneham. That's what I was looking for. 17.1 kilometres, and he comes up to the finish line in 4th place. Looks like. That's unfortunate. I was hoping he'd finish a little bit further up than that. Certainly in the top 3. I'm not sure where Tom has finished, but here comes Blackham, Campbell. We'll focus on Campbell at the moment as he is behind Blackham, but only just 16.6 kilometres. Beginning to wind it up a little bit. 450 watts there. Blackham's got a great finish on him. 7.6 watts per kilo he's holding at the moment. He is pulling away from Campbell by the looks of it. Only slightly. Let's move up to Blackham. Blackham at 17. He can see the finish. 7.4, 7.9 watts per kilo. Campbell is not going to catch him. I don't think so. No, it is Blackham at 8.9 watts per kilo crosses the finish line, followed by Campbell. And next up will be, looks like it's going to be Kalik, but there's a big group of riders here. Let's see who else is in here. Lisa's in there as well, so is Empson. And Lancia and Ketley. There's Ketley going for the sprint. Ketley's got a great sprint on him. Is he going to catch? Irfan's gone as well. Ketley's moving forward. Empson's going too. Can't tell you which rider won that. Sorry. Have to have a look on the slow motion replay to capture that one. There's just a quick look at Cullen at 14.5 kilometres, but let's see who else we can catch up the front and who is next to finish on the Richmond roller coaster. Collier at, let's see where he is, 16.4, might not get anyone much further ahead than this, 17 kilometres. Dury, Mayhew, Smith, Shannon. Quigley's in there as well by the looks of it. Is it Quigley? Littlewood's there too. Littlewood, Hindley, Shannon. Let's just focus on Littlewood as he's further towards the back. Nixon's there as well. This is a very interesting finish. Looks like it's going to be Mayhew Smith over Shannon. Dury I saw briefly. I've lost him again. Let's go back to me. Wait for the list to refresh. Quigley and Collier. Looks like Quigley's just crossing the line ahead of Collier. Oliver White looks to be the next rider that I can see. Under a kilometre to go for him. Holding 279 watts. No heart rate monitor. It is advisable to wear a heart rate monitor, particularly at the level you're riding at in this category. You run the risk of being disqualified without one. In fact, did I just see May with him as well? So if this, it is indeed Albert May. A great ride from him. What a fantastic performance. Have to look at the numbers afterwards, but it looks to me as if May has ridden very well. In fact, there he goes. Just a couple of 100 metres to the finish now. Is he going to stay ahead of White? I've lost White on the screen. But behind them now, Tamsin, who has the green and the polka dot jersey. No one going to bother her on the finish just there. So moving further back, see if I can catch. Looks like it's going to be Cullen up next. Six, 16.6 kilometers, 28 minutes in. This is one of the fastest races that riders take part in on Zwift, and one of the shortest as well. 16.8, 28.30. There is the finish line ahead. Cullen holding 3.2 watts per kilo, 254 watts, 275. He's winding it up a little bit. Let's see if he can hold this all the way to the finish. Now he's coming off the power lift. Now he's going up, 347. A great performance from him, only recently promoted to the Seas. And there he is, just about to cross the finish line. And next up behind him is Peter Jones. He's got a good kick in him as well towards the finish. He's running at 5.3 watts per kilo. I'll let him cross the line. See who else is on course. Morton. Let's see if I can find Morton, Telford and Rob Jones. Have a quick look further back, see if they're there. In fact, this looks interesting. Morton is going to come into view of the finish in just a moment as he rounds this part of a roundabout or corner, whatever it is. But very interestingly behind, looks as if, and we'll stay here now until the finish, 47 seconds further back, Jones and Telford. So last time, in fact from the start of the race, Jones and Telford managed to stay together for a large part of it. Then Telford, was he 20 seconds further ahead, even 25 seconds further ahead? And now the two have come together. I can't tell you whether it is Jones that is sped up or Telford that is slowed down, probably a bit of both of course. Jones has got a great start on him. I think Telford is perhaps a little stronger on the hills, but I'd need to see them race again together to determine that. But they are now both together. So in a sprint, difficult one. Let's see what happens. Jones is ahead at the moment. They're going to come round this roundabout and they will see the finish ahead. It's possible to see at the top right of the screen the green arch over the road on the left hand side. They know how far away it is. They do have a countdown on their screen. There is the finish. Is someone going to wind it up first? Telford at 2.7 watts per kilo. Just right next to each other. Looks to me at the moment Jones is pulling away. Is Telford is responding at 4.1 watts per kilo. I'm not sure Jones has got that left in him. Jones is still ahead at this stage. And Telford pulls ahead just before the finish line. He just had that final little kick in him. And then our remaining riders on course, Lord, won't follow her all the way to the end, but some 20 seconds further, 30 seconds I think, further back from Telford and Jones. And then the last rider on course this evening is Lay. He is now at 16 kilometers. He will come into the finish shortly, of course. So we'll finish the racing for this evening now. Our next race is on Monday evening, hosted by GGCC. Thank you all for watching. See you all next week.